Good morning. So, I want to talk a little bit more about transcending the ego on the during the spiritual awakening and during the twin flame journey, um, and especially regards to the twin flame journey. So, it's Saturday morning, and typically on Saturday, I let myself. It's my day off, but whenever I do feel something flowing through, I do record it just so that it is so that I'm able to get it out. I kind of see it as a not really work, more as kind of doing my God's work. And so I guess the video will be a little bit more laid back. So I woke up a little bit late this morning. I just want to show you where I'm sitting. It's a place that I found in the last few couple of weeks that I come to in the morning to have my coffee. So just to give you guys kind of a visual picture of where I'm at. So this is an old shed, an old abandoned shed, and the local kids have brought some couches and some sitting places here that they come and probably, I imagine, they sit here in the evening, but this is what it looks like. And it's under a roof, and it's just kind of out in the open. So it's a good place to come and just have my coffee. I say I'm having my coffee in the morning and take the dogs out. So that's kind of where I'm at. And I want to talk about transcending the ego and the twin flame journey because I've been noticing that whenever I am in that place of poor me, how am I going to do this? Because we go back and forth. We go into these places where we feel completely strong within ourselves, and then it feels like fall out of sync with ourselves, and then we start going into the poor me. How am I going to do this? Um, I don't know if I have what it entails. Why me? It seems that all the pain starts just rushing back in, and we start going into this mind loops and into the pain again, and into all of the thoughts of what was, what is, how can I change this, trying to grasp, um, going into the victim mode, and feeling like um, is this what it's going to be like for the rest of my life? I'm so tired of this. And we go into all of those places internally. And what I've been noticing about myself is that whenever I go into those places, it means that I'm sitting in my ego. It's my ego thinking that it needs to resolve this, it's my mind. I'm going into my ego. Anytime that I start feeling like um, I am powerless, or anytime that I start feeling insecurities, or anytime that I start feeling like I have to do something or control this, or anytime that I start feeling like I'm not enough, he's not choosing me, like the victim of the situation, every time it's because I'm back down inside of my ego, and my ego has taken control. Because the ego, when it takes control over this journey and thinks that it has to do, it's the ego doesn't know how to solve it, because the ego has to transcend itself in order to overcome the pain and in order to get the strength to go on. So it's like you're asking yourself to kill yourself, right? Because we have to rise above the ego. We have to transcend the ego. We have to transcend that yearning for your twin. And the only way that you can transcend that and continue on with your life, now it's not about not loving that counterpart, or not because they are there, that is a given. So you kind of have to find a way to balance it to where they are there and that is a given, but you also don't depend your life on whatever they're doing. You are having your own independent, um, uh, powerful, uh, uh, vibrant, exciting, um, full of compassions and passions and fulfillment without having to have them fill those places in you. And in when we're able to do that, that means that we have to rise above the ego, because anytime that we are in the ego is feeling the separateness. The ego is of the 3D plane and needs that togetherness the the um, for the actualization of the feeling in union. It needs it. The ego is always going to feel in separation because of that is the level of the 3D. It doesn't matter. We're always separated. Even if we are body next to body, we are in the 3D, two separate entities. And so you're always going to be feeling that separation until you can transcend the ego and come up to that higher level where you will always feel that union. But in order to do that, you have to come into balance within yourself, and you have to transcend the ego and take the ego in tow. And so a way to figure out if you are an ego or an ego, if you're an ego or an soul level, is by actually um, following the emotions. So if you are in that really deep rooted pain, then and the feeling of separation, and how am I going to do this? I can't do this. I don't know. I can't stand the pain anymore. That is the ego mind. That is the language of the ego, because the higher being doesn't feel that separation. The higher being is divine and knows that it's connected and knows that of its worth. And of course the ego mind is not going to know how to do this, because it's like telling the fish to overcome the water. It's like telling the ego that it has to see. The ego is of this world, and you're telling the ego that it has to transcend itself. And so anytime that you're sitting in the ego, it means that you have work to do to transcend whatever that pain is coming from. And we're going to keep going into these same loops of pain until it almost feels like it self resolves itself, because you get so deep into the pain that you just can't even be in that pain anymore. You don't your soul won't allow you to sit there anymore. So it almost like when you allow yourself to go into the full depths of the pain, and then you feel the full depths of the separation. That means that you go all the way into the connection, the twin flame connection, and see it as um, see, it's kind of a paradox of sort. I'm saying as a separation, it's because you have to accept that in order to get to this next level, but you were never really separated. So it's kind of like being able to see them live a separate in separateness than you, as while you are connected, and be an allowance of that. So it's almost like you get to gather um, double energy, because once you can accept that separateness, and once you can accept that they have their own life, and then you can be happy and you have that unconditional love for them, then you have added power to your life, because not only are you enjoying your own life because you're not feeling lack of not being in that, um, but you're also gaining the enjoyment that they are getting through whatever actions that they are taking. So you get that added value into your life, and you can use it as inspiration as well, because when you really get into it, when you really get yourself connected without all the stories of why me, he's apart, he's doing this, and you're holding yourself against in that pain, when you get into the opposite, the unconditional love, and you're able to watch them and be happy for them, you also get to feel the emotions that they are feeling in their progression in their life, and you can use that as inspiration. And not only can you use that as its inspiration, you also get to heal yourself in those places, because you're open to that much broader of a spectrum. It opens yourself up to yourself. And you can also be an allowance to them. So that also grows your ability for love, of how you love. And it also heals them in any place that they are off. They have that non-judgmental, loving mirror of themselves and acceptance of themselves, right? We are in acceptance of them in whatever they're doing, and it heals them as well. So that's part of this journey, and part of this dynamic is is full acceptance and full unconditional love, and transcending our own ego. We have to you can't tell the ego to take care to kill the ego. The ego is not going to be able to do it. You can't tell the ego to um, like take away its own power when the ego that uh, is that opposition, is its own opposition. So you have to, with ease and with love and with understanding, you have to rise into a place where you're holding the ego, because the ego has all this pain in it. You have to have that compassion towards yourself. The ego has all this pain in it, and all the separateness, and all of the fears of your inner child. I really don't like saying that, but it is. You are like a little kid inside with the why me. If you can see your ego in a place of complete compassion for the ego, and a feeling of love for self, and you just cradle your ego and say, it's okay, I'm here now, I'll take care of you. And you don't have to figure it all out. We are divinely guided, we're connected, and you kind of give your ego, you kind of pet your ego and give your ego trust and ease in that way. And and at the same time, you have to rise into that place of trusting your own self, and trusting the divine, and trusting the connection, and trusting that everything is going to always work out in your favor for your highest good. And whatever is here for a reason, and um, will is guiding you back to your highest self. So we are really privileged to be on this journey. And at the end of life, when we look back, we can say, "Oh boy, we did it. We lived a full life experience. We have had a spectrum, this magnificent spectrum of events during our life that have allowed us to fully experience life. At least that we can say." And the more that we can let go and allow the guidance, and the more that we can let go of trying to control everything, the quicker we can go down this process, and the quicker that the more experiences that we have. So it's a constant experience and expansion. um, but we can exit the pain, and then we can come into our higher selves, and then whatever we do have left on this experience, we get to lead according to um, inspired expression and full control of the avatar and the life experience. That we can take our life and steer it where we want to steer it. And in that way, when we quit pressuring the counterpart, we quit trying to pull from them their energy, we quit having expectations for them, we quit trying to force them down a route that makes us feel good, that is the ego wants to get those um, what is the word? It's like hits, like wants to get those outs, or like the um, I can't think of the word, but it's like when we want the release, when the ego wants to get those like releases. If we're running after the small gratifications, the small releases, and then we're always being avoidant of the pain, which the pain will bring us to the higher release, where it is the complete um, Yeah, so delayed gratifications. I did a video about delayed gratifications, and this comes into it. It's like you have to hold your breath. You have to understand, okay, I'm in the ego now. I'm going to hold my breath. I'm going to endure. I know that this is going to pass. And then you just ask your angels, ask God for guidance. Help me through this. Let me realize again that I am a higher being, that I am above this, that this is coming to teach me something. This is coming um, to burn out all of my weaknesses. And then you start telling yourself that story, and then you start rising into it. You can ease your ego into it. So that was a point that was coming to me this morning, is that you can't transcend the ego from the ego. You have to you do have to go into the ego and slowly remove its clutches from you. And but it's also done with, like, it's like you would pet a dog or pet an animal into, it's okay. You calm your ego down. It's okay, you're okay. I'm here now. I'm and this is the internal work that we do. No one else can do our eternal work for us. We can get guidance, and we can get understanding, and we can bring ourselves into contact with what vibrates at that higher level, so that we can anchor ourselves into it. But in the end of the day, we are the ones that are going to have to be going through the pain and sitting in it. And it's almost like holding our breath through these different stages of release. And as long as when you're released, you feel the release. When you release you feel this internal feeling of peace, of I'm not holding this, and like everything is going to be okay, bringing all the power back to me. You feel a let go. You feel you feel the release. You feel held. You feel a relief. You feel a relief. Like, I don't have to hold up these faces anymore. And almost like you can't hold up the faces anymore. I don't have to hold up these faces anymore. I don't have to keep holding on to something that isn't going how I want it to go. You just release it, and you release it with love and with trust. It's going to go where it needs to go. If I'm trying to hold it back, it's not making the path that it needs to go, its own quickest path down its own spiritual awakening, right? Your twin's own path, right? As long as you're holding on to them, you are also messing up their path. You're messing up your path. You're messing up their path, because that energetic pull is strong and felt. And so it's kind of with ease. So I'm sending you guys so much love. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here with me.